Let us feel the presence of our Almighty Creator. A prayer for my intellect. Lord, you are the source of all life, all truth, and all beauty. I pray to you today with all my heart for my intelligence. This light in me, this plant which demands years of care, this thing in me, mysterious and moving. This activity which sometimes bounds up, sometimes slows down, which sometimes lifts me up with enthusiasm and sometimes exasperates me. I pray for this thing which runs after ideas, symbols, and numbers. This thing which all of a sudden has penetrated inside the thought of another and melts with it like the fusion of two lights. A fusion which bring about warmth and light. I pray to you for my mind as you are the supreme intelligence which penetrates, illuminates, and embraces all our intelligences. Lord, help make my intelligence amenable to all truths, able to understand the thoughts of others. Give to me the wisdom to know the meaning and purpose of my life and learning. So that my knowledge, understanding, and skills may help in some little ways to make this world a better place for your greater glory. In the silence of our hearts, let us pray for our personal intentions. Amen. Hi there! Thank you for clicking on this video. How are you today? I hope you're having a good day. Rest assured, I will be of great assistance and I will make our class as lively as possible. Are you ready to learn something new today? Very good. So let's get started. Good morning, class. Today, we're going to talk about structural functionalism. At the end of the lesson, the students will be able to analyze the basic concepts and principles of the major social science theories. A. Structural functionalism. Apply the major social science theories and its importance in examining sociocultural, economic, and political conditions. A. Structural functionalism. Before we start with our lesson, I'm going to show you a video about functionalism. Functionalism is a theory of society that focuses on the structures that create the society and on how the society is able to remain stable. Let us watch the video created and uploaded by Khan Academy Medicine.
Functionalism is a system of thinking based on the ideas of Emile Durkheim that looks at society from a large-scale perspective. It examines the necessary structures that make up a society and how each part helps to keep the society stable. According to functionalism, society is heading toward an equilibrium. I know it sounds a bit strange that a society can be at equilibrium, but consider the changes many businesses have had to make in response to companies like Amazon. Local businesses must adapt to find a new way to cater to customers in order to restore the balance. In the theory of functionalism, society is made from a bunch of connected structures. One structure is institutions, which are structures that meet the needs of the society, like education systems, financial institutions, businesses, marriage, laws, mass media, non-governmental organizations, medicine, religion, the military, police forces, and lots of others too. Another structure is what Durkheim called social facts. Social facts are ways of thinking and acting formed by the society that existed before any one individual and will still exist after any individual is dead. They are unique objects that cannot be influenced by an individual. They have a coercive effect over the individual that is usually only noticed when we resist against them. So, for example, one social fact is the law. It is always there, but we don't notice it until we try and break it or act against it. Some other examples are moral regulations, religious faiths, and social currents like suicide or birth rate. You might wonder how suicide can be a social fact. Well, one person committing suicide has no effect on the presence of suicide in the society. Social facts are a facet of the society itself, and, according to Durkheim, are a necessary structure. But society is more than just the sum of its parts. It is dependent on the structures that create it, just like a cell is dependent on all the little parts that make it up. Every part of the cell has a specific vital function that depends on other parts of the cell. Without everything working together smoothly, the cell would die. The same is true of a society. Every structure has a function that meets a need of the society, and all the structures work together to maintain a social equilibrium. So, for example, you have schools, which educate students so they can find good jobs and support the community. And businesses provide specialized services, and laws maintain social order. These recognized and intended consequences of institutions are known as manifest functions. But sometimes the institutions have unintended consequences. Schools allow the students and professors to make social connections, and they expose the students to new activities through extracurriculars. Businesses connect people across societies. These unrecognized and unintended consequences are called latent functions, and are often indirect effects of the institution. Now, Durkheim's main question was, what holds a society together? How can it remain relatively stable even as traditions disappear and customs change? He thought that small societies were held together by their similarities, and the individual was self-sufficient, but that only works for small societies, and we all know societies change and grow large. The small society would eventually evolve into a large society where the individual was interdependent on others. But what causes this evolution of society to occur? The most basic factor is population growth within a limited space. Suddenly, there isn't enough land for everyone to own their own farm and feed themselves, so just a few farmers grow enough food for the entire community. But now, the farmers don't have enough time for other necessities like making clothes or teaching their kids. The people who no longer have to grow food now take on different roles like tailoring or education, and everyone becomes dependent on one another for their continued well-being. People have become specialized, which forces mutual interdependence. This interdependence helps to ensure that the community won't fall apart. Now that people depend on each other for the production of goods and services, there is a need for a method of distribution and a way to control and coordinate that production and distribution. In functionalism, a change to either production, distribution, or coordination will force the others to adapt in order to maintain a stable state society. Social change is annoying and upsets the equilibrium and threatens the mutual interdependence of the people within that society. The institutions and structures of the society adapt only just enough to compensate for a change and maintain the stability of mutual interdependence. Phew, alright, that just about covers it. While functionalism is a nice way to look at society with its equilibrium of institutions all filling the needs of the society they create, there are some serious problems here. Functionalism focuses completely on the institution, with little regard for the importance of the individual. The individual is acknowledged, but nothing they do really affects the structures of society. Functionalism is also largely unable to explain social change and conflict. We know it happens, but functionalism is so focused on maintaining the equilibrium of the society that little significant change is modeled and no conflict can occur. The structures of a society adapt only just enough to find the stability again. Right, so while there's more to understanding a society than just looking at the stable state of its parts, functionalism is helpful in understanding the workings of society by examining the functions of its integral structures.
Functionalism or structural functionalism is the perspective in sociology according to which society consists of different but related parts, each of which serves a particular purpose. According to functionalism, sociologists can explain social structures and social behavior in terms of the components of a society and their functions. Auguste Comte helped develop the functionalism in the 19th century, and functionalist Emile Durkheim later compared society to the human body. Just as the human body consists of different interrelated organs that enable it to survive, society consists of different components that enable it to survive and which depend on each other. Let's start with the definition of structural functionalism. From the 1930s through 1970s, structural functionalism was the foremost theoretical approach in American sociology. Functionalists coined important sociological concepts such as norms, systems, and rules that became the foundation of modern sociology. In this lesson, we explore the basic concepts and premises of structural functionalism, a perspective that still informs sociological thinking today. Structural functionalism is a perspective in sociology that sees societies as a complex system whose parts work together to promote unity and stability. The best way to understand this idea is by analogy with a human body. Just as the body consists of different interrelated organs that enable it to survive, society consists of different components that enable it to survive and which depend on each other. For example, judicial systems help maintain order and schools teach children. Problems in a single part of society can disrupt the whole. To maintain stability and order in society, structural functionalism emphasizes the importance of value consensus, of people having shared norms and values. For instance, one of the major purposes of religion is to reaffirm people's adherence to certain core social values. Such adherence helps maintain unity and social cohesion. How did structural functionalism emerge as a discipline? Who were the pioneers of this major theoretical perspective? We now turn to the historical roots of structural functionalism. The French philosopher Auguste Comte was the first to use the term sociology. He coined this term in order to describe the subject he wished to establish. He firmly believed that the study of society should be scientific. In other words, he proposed that the scientific method could be applied to the study of human behavior and society, and that the knowledge produced from this investigation should be based on empirical evidence. Consequently, Comte's works were full of comparisons between biological and social organisms. Emile Durkheim is one of the most important frontrunners of structural functionalism. the influence of Comte on Durkheim, and in turn Durkheim's influence on the other functionalists such as Malinowski and Radcliffe Brown were of crucial importance to the development of the field. According to Durkheim, the study of society should be established on a scientific basis through the development of methodological principles that will guide research. Therefore, the study of society should involve the study of social facts, the aspects of social life that shape our actions as individuals. Durkheim argued that a major principle of sociology is to study social facts as things, which means that social life can be studied and understood as events and objects in nature. Herbert Spencer is also a frontrunner in the development of structural functionalism. He held the evolutionary view that society was a growing progressively better. Because of this, Spencer argued that society should be left alone. He embraced the ideas of Charles Darwin and applied them to the social world, maintaining that the social world also experiences a process of natural selection. People who were fit would exist and survive, those unfit eventually become extinct. As with Comte and Durkheim, Spencer also viewed society as an organism. He borrowed concepts and ideas from biology to look at the relationships between the different parts of society and to examine how these parts function for the good of the whole system. Let us proceed with Talcott Parsons' structural functionalism. Talcott Parsons was one of the most influential structural functionalists in the field of sociology. One of the Parsons' most important ideas is that action must not be viewed in isolation. Rather, action must be understood as a process in time or a system. Parsons saw social action as comprised of four main elements. First, action is oriented toward the attainment of goals. Second, action takes place in situations consisting of the physical and social objects which the actor relates to. Third, actions is regulated by norms. And the last thing is, action involves expenditure of effort. That is Talcott Parsons' structural functionalism. Perhaps the best known concepts arise from Merton's functionalism are the concepts of manifest and latent functions. For Merton, manifest functions refers to the over and intended purpose of an action. On the other hand, latent function refers to its implicit or unintended purpose. Merton used the example of a rain dance performed by the Hopi tribe of Arizona and the New Mexico. The Hopi believes that the ceremony will bring the rain necessary for a crop growth. That is the manifest function. This is the reason they organize and participate in it. However, Merton argues that the rain dance also promotes solidarity and unity within the Hopi tribe, and that is the latent function. Merton also distinguished between functions and dysfunctions. In order to look for the dysfunctional aspects of social behavior, one has to focus on the features of social life that challenge the social order. For instance, if the manifest function of religion is to promote unity and cohesion, it can also have a certain dysfunction. When two groups support different religions or different versions of the same religion, major social conflict leading to widespread social disruption can result. Wars have been fought between religious communities, as in the struggle between the Muslims and Christians in Mindanao. Whereas Parsons' conceptualization of society as a system of interrelated parts seems to imply that all social institutions are functional. Merton emphasizes that the different parts of a system can also be at odds with each other. Thus, dysfunctions and unintended consequences can happen as well. Let's have the core values of grace. So today, I would like to use God-fearing as one of the core values of grace. Let us watch the video created and uploaded by Carissa Pierre.
Created using Powtoon.
The best way to understand structural functionalism is by analogy with a human body. Just as the brain, heart, and lungs in the human body work together to maintain human life, social institutions such as education, family, and law work together in order to maintain society. In a family, each member of it has special roles to play, such as parent, sibling, or spouse. We all have a purpose and a calling on our lives. I want you to let that sink in for just a second and hear it again. Everyone has a purpose and a calling in life, and that calling comes from God. We all find ourselves searching for that purpose. Many of us have searched for our purpose for years. We have tried different things only to end up not feeling fulfilled or important. We have searched so long, sometimes completely unaware, that we are searching only to become more and more frustrated. The only true way to find our calling is by allowing God to help us recognize it. Discovering our calling can be difficult, and we often do not understand what it is. We will know that we are living our purpose because it will bring us pure joy and fulfillment. We all have jobs, responsibilities, and duties in life. This may or may not overlap with our calling. Being a mother, a teacher, or a nurse may be our job, and for some of us, our calling as well. There may be some of us who have jobs that allow us to pay the bills, but they may have nothing directly to do with our purpose and calling. Finding our purpose and our calling will ultimately lead all of us to peace. Once we find our purpose and calling, we will no longer feel that something is missing from our lives. We will no longer search aimlessly for our purpose, only to end up feeling increasingly empty. God is the only way to fill the void in our lives, and God can fill that void with so many different things for all of us. Just imagine what a better place this world would be if all of us felt at peace and fulfilled. It would truly be a better and more peaceful place. Each of us has a purpose for living beyond our own survival and pleasure. Every individual is like a thread in a beautiful tapestry with a vital contribution to make, not only to the sustenance of life as we know it, but in the creation and development of more beneficial expressions of life. Please accomplish the following activities for this week. You can copy and answer this on a one-whole sheet of paper. Always refer to your SDLP for your daily learning activities. For your written work, and for your performance tasks. you for watching this video. I hope you learned a lot today. May God bless you and your family. Let's hope and pray that this pandemic will end soon. Always be a blessing and a gift to those around you. And choose to be kind even when others aren't kind to you. Bye!